I think the experience of immigration influenced my artist practice as very enriching and transformative as well, because immigrating is a process of learning and unlearning.
For too long, we've been led to believe that only two types of people can have an extraordinary creative career: creative genius and people who hustle so hard that they're working all the time. Here on the Everyday Talent Podcast, we are shattering that myth. This podcast is built on one truth, which is every one of us can have an extraordinary creative career. The way to get there is not by sacrificing all of ourselves to our work, but rather embracing our authentic selves and carve out unique paths to a fulfilling and joyful creative life. Hello and welcome. My name is Betty. I'm a creative and a coach for creators. I've coached photographers, filmmakers, visual artists, arts consultants, and arts leaders to make intentional career shifts and build thriving independent practices. This podcast is for you if you're looking to cut through the noise of what you should be doing in your creative career and figure out what actually works and matters for you. Before we begin, I want to remind you to subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or your platform of choice. Leave us a rating and review and share this podcast on your social so that more amazing creatives out there can find out about this podcast and feel seen. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Talent Podcast. Today on the podcast, I've got someone very special who is also, like me, I would say multi-passionate and do many things. Hi, Yannis.
Hi, Betty. Thank you so much for having me in your space. I'm so glad.
Yeah, thank you for coming to this space. Yannis, to start this conversation with, can you tell the audience a bit about what you do and who you are?
Yes, it's a long history, as you say,
Of course.
multi-passionate, but I will make sure. I am from Cuba. I born in Baracoa, in a small town in Cuba, and raised in Havana, in the capital in Cuba. I first study. I have a constantly having construct myself and change myself and have a great tour. So my first career, I graduate university in pharmacy. So
Wow, I did not know that.
nobody
Yeah.
know that.
Mhm.
I didn't put that anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's my first career. And then I have a tour and I study film productions. And then I study literature. So I went to change my career path, what is my passion. So I have that great tour in my career. So I am focused in photography. I study photography in Cuba as well, in the training school,
Mhm.
and, and now I am filmmaker, photographer, a community art facilitator, and podcaster as well. So I
Yeah, the list goes on, right?
yes, and so on. But that's the mostly my focus now. So yes, that's
Yeah.
a long story.
Yeah. Long, but also like a very real story, like the about migration, you migrating from like Cuba to here, and then also like reinvention. That's what those two keywords that I heard there. Can you tell us a bit how you transitioned from a non-arts career in pharmacy to an arts career? What motivated you to do that?
That's amazing question. Thank you, Betty. Well,
Hmm.
I always been a very since I was kid. I was really avid reader, really a good reader, and also I was always in the movie, watching movie. All my friends they were artists mostly for by casually since the high school. So I had that inside of myself, but my family background is more medical, professional career in medicine and other. So I guess I in the moment I grew up in Cuba, it was my first option mentally as a that path. But luckily, I was very brave and encourage myself to study myself and go and take course and workshops and went to the school, the film school in Cuba, the International Film School.
Hmm.
I took some postgraduate course there, a lot. You can see in my LinkedIn, it's a lot of course there. I do my
Yes.
professional development there and also work for more than 10 years in this film school. And what it was the motivation, I thought it was my passion. I want to follow what is true to myself and
Mm.
what was my main interest in the moment. So I was 23. So I said, that's the perfect moment to turn around. I am 45 now. And so I
Mm.
say, no, that's the perfect turn to change the career and do what I really love and I am passionate. Yes, yes.
I love that. Yeah, it took courage and also like belief in oneself to make that move. And then again, like how does your like story of immigration factor into all this?
Well, yes, the immigrate to Canada. I am new here. I feel like I knew 9 years ago. I
Hmm.
arrived to Canada. Still, I am learning, and I think the experience of immigration influenced my artist practice as very enriching and transformative as well. Because immigrating is a process of learning and unlearning. So I have been, and also pains and I have been transforming all that pain, all that homesick, and all the we have in common as an immigrant now, and all the friendships that we miss, and I transformed that in my medicine to heal myself
Mm.
and also to
Wow.
grow in my artist practice and my vision as a mother, as a I think world citizen as well.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a transformative
Yeah.
experience. I love to tell that because I feel like that.
Hmm.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
So I love that you're talking where like you're using the word pain and emotion and yet on off the screen or off this like recording, I'm feeling this like energy of optimism. And I really think that your story is like inspiring that way. Like tell us a bit more about what have been some of the challenges that you overcome as like an immigrant artist to a new country.
Yes, well, the biggest challenge is always for an immigrant, an artist, more is first the struggle we face it to start the zero, no, to start again, and prove ourselves that we can do it in this landscape. No, my first challenge was how I translate all my dreams and my career in this context now in Canada and Toronto, where it's a hard time to be an artist, only and fulfill your dreams. So I thought the first it was knowing your identity
Mm.
and know who you are and what do you want.
Mhm.
That it says easy, but it was a very long process. As you say, it was a pain to sit down with myself and see, because when you immigrate, it's a lot the stereotype that people put in yourself. Now you
Yes.
are immigrant from Latin America or Caribbean. In this case, in my case, I am from Cuba, Caribbean, and I
Mm.
always the people like can discourage you to don't do what do you love or what do you are already have 20 years experience. In my case, I have 20 years experience, and I have to say here like I am a less experience because my
Mm.
experience is no. You have to balance that experience in the with the level in Canada.
You
It's
have to somehow
oh,
like restart again. It doesn't count. That feeling of
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Well, it's the same story that many other immigrants I hear and I talk all the time about that. And I think we have to stand in our truth
Hmm.
and we have to be shame maybe and with courage be face all that judgment and all that stereotype that we face now as an immigrant. And also we have to learning to advocate for ourselves. So that's a long process. I am still in there because it's only 9 years, but I learned that. But in the good way, as you say, I am a positive person. I believe I always see my experience as something I can transform in something good,
Hmm.
and even having bad days.
Hmm.
But we have to learn about that and find the support, no? So find the ways to connect with the community, the building yourself the community you want, because that's another issue we can face as well as immigrant. When you arrive, don't have the community, so you have to build it yourself and do your own research and find your own space and resource.
Yeah. I love that when I asked you like what challenge you overcome, like you went to, because some people I think would like list things like networking or finding a job. You immediately went to kind of look internally about like know yourself. And then earlier you also share like immigration is experience of like both learning and unlearning. And so though that those traits shows to me that you did a lot of inner work in identifying how do yourself play in this new landscape. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. Like, how do you think your artistic practice or like the things that you focus on in your art, like in your craft, change because of this shift of like space because of the experience of immigration?
Yes, absolutely, Betty. My artistic practice has changed, of course, because
Hmm.
now I have like a new whole vision, what I can do, and also the daily life here in Canada and Toronto make me change the path, and maybe the learning something and unlearn another, like art. And I try the learning a little bit more about my artist practice as an entrepreneur. So
Mm.
how I can,
Entrepreneur. I love
yes,
the word.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like how you do that is a really hard thing. So that's something I never think about before in Cuba. I don't have that mind. So my mind changed. Of course, we are changed,
Hmm.
and also something I love. I heard a long time ago, when your language can change as well, your perspective, the language you
Yes.
speak, you know,
Hmm.
can change. And so I believe that yes, when I am in English, my mind is in English mode. It's completely different my way that I see the stuff, or I see my art, or my career, or my daily things. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Let's talk about language for a second. I'm so glad you brought it up because like I want to share with the audience that Yannis, how many languages do you speak or
formally I
know?
speak four. Four.
Informally?
Maybe more than five, six, maybe. I think.
Yeah, you're definitely a polyglot, and I just love to know how that connects with your multifaceted mind because you also practice. I lost count how many artistic disciplines like filmmaking, podcasting, visual language, photography. So I just want to kind of get in your brain for a second. How does those multi-language and multidisciplinary come about, and how do you connect the dots and like shift gear? Yeah,
I love language. That's something I am
purely.
passionate. Yes, I am passionate since I think little girl. And I must tell you that because maybe my background in Cuba, it was very mixed, and the immigrants, grandparents, my grandparents, one side, the mother side, it was Chinese, another Lebanese, a Spaniard from Asturias. So I always have like a dad, and sometimes at home, I remember they have her own conversation in her own language. So I
Hmm.
always was curious to learn. Uh, so and to speak and to understand other people around.
Hmm.
And also when I studied in the film school, that is an international school, so it was all the countries around, and
Right.
it was amazing to catch up all the words around, and to learn. And I'm still learning. I will love to. speak more languages.
Yeah. So you
But
mentioned, how do you, when you think, like I give you an example, people often ask me, my partner, we speak three languages. They always ask me, us like, what language do you communicate in? So I'm asking the same question here. Like, do you think in one language, and when you make art, is it another language? How do you function with those multiple languages?
well, I must tell you, I always think in Spanish. That's
You
my
always
first.
think in Spanish. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
that's
sense.
my
Yeah.
love language.
Hmm.
Then sometimes when I writing, sometimes the word coming in French or Spanish or English. So I
Hmm.
mix sometimes all that language in my writing formally.
Yeah.
and and the photography, I think my language is my body. Is the language I follow when I do photography. If it's a language as well,
Beautiful.
I am full time with my body and I do photography, any type of photography.
Tell us
And
a bit more about that. Like, how do you conceptualize or think about your like body's involvement in the act of photography?
oh, that's a long question, a long answer.
We've got time.
Thank you, Betty. Betty, I feel like photography for me, since I get my first camera a long time ago in Cuba, it was a Zenith all. Uh, I always feel like it was kind of part of my. I embodied that. It was kind of part of myself. I didn't see in that time I was a professional photographer because I didn't do the study in the time. And then I went to study the basic photography and all the lighting and stuff and technical. And I was so passionate with all the technical stuff in one point, and I get deep in that. So I feel like when I have the camera in my hands, it's my other eyes. I call like my third eye uh,
Yes. Yeah.
because it's there, and I feel like for me, photography is my spiritual journey. I say that all the time.
It's an
That
extension of your body to see the world.
yes, I thought many photographers say that. Even Adam, he says something about how your body change now when you are in the landscape doing with your camera and your equipment, and it's all moving, and that changed your mind how you uh, move in the place. I my photography is more focused, as you maybe know already. It's more focused in the landscape, and I love trees and birds, and
Hmm.
that's my main subject all the time. And plants, and passionate with that. So I move with very careful in the forest, with very respect. I respect a lot my place, the earth in general. But when I am inside there, I feel like my body is more lighting. I don't know, even I feel like I float there with the space. So it's a very
Wow.
unique.
Yeah, it's like you dance with the nature with your photography.
Yes, that's a beautiful image. Yes, yes, I feel like that.
So let's talk about nature for a second. So I definitely know that it's like a big element of your work. And when I asked, like, when we were coordinating for this interview, when I asked you about your inspiration, you also named nature as one of the aspects. And now I'm seeing all the plants at the back on the screen in your background.
Yes.
How, what's your relationship with nature, and how does that inspire you?
Well, as I say, I born in Cuba, which our landscapes for the nature is ocean and plants,
Mm.
and I born in a little town called Baracoa, which is full the mountain and nature, and it was my favorite place to visit and all the time, and I stay there. So always I learn to a lot about plants and all the flora and fauna in Cuba, and I have that connection, deep connection. I thought because my grandmother, she was a very passionate person with. She always grew up plants and showed me the medicine, the plants. She was original from Baracoa, from that little town, Taínos side. So she had that philosophy, and I thought I catch that from her. And yes, my relation with plants since I am kid, I am little girl. And I translate that to my Canada. I cannot live without plants. I plant by seed. That's
Yay.
can
Yeah.
be is a pepper, avocados,
Hmm.
and I love that. I love to see that stuff growing and blooming, and that's one of my first connection with that. The other is the when I, as I say before, when you go to the forest, the respect and attention for me is like a it's a practice. My meditation now, when I be there inside, that's my I am fully completely present there, and I saw stuff that sometimes the people don't believe me. I see it, but I catch with the camera. Thanks God, I have now a new camera.
Ah, yes. Got
Yes,
the evidence.
yes, because
Yeah.
before I tell the people and they say, "Oh no, that's your imagination. You're very imaginative person." But no, it's just I don't know. It's a natural connection. Let's go to say that.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a like the element of nature has shown up on this podcast many times. Many times guests have shared their relationship with nature and everybody is like slightly different. And I love that you kind of connect the dots between nature and photography and like this imagery of dancing with nature. And of course, I heard an element there about being a nurturer, like growing something, which brings me to the other inspiration that you name, which is being a mother and motherhood. How has that like play a factor in your art?
Oh wow, that's a big, enormous. Being a
Mm,
mother, being a mother for me was the biggest challenge I have ever have. Yes, it's changed a lot your um, rhyme life,
mhm,
and changed a lot the way you see the world as well. Now I am more since I have my little girl. I have only one. The name is Amelie. She's served for me as an inspiration,
mm,
also as see the world with maybe more clean eyes, maybe or more innocent eyes. I don't
mm.
know. It's
Innocent,
something.
yeah.
Yes, I thought it's something in common. All the mothers, all the parents as well. Now, parenthood and total non-female,
Mhm.
all the motherhood in general we have in common. I think that's a feeling like you can start to see the world and be aware the more stuff as well. No, like I am more sensitive now as the child immigrations in the border. I am more aware how that
Mm,
affect us as an immigrant as well. I am more aware the poverty, the things around me, the violence, the language. I speak with my daughter. I try because it's a hard time. Being a mother is hard.
yes.
I try to encourage her to do a good things and to teach her the best thing I can. Of course, we are humans. We make mistakes and we learn from the mistakes as well. So
Mhm,
yes, definitely, I had a big impact in my professional career as well, because I had to change all
mhm.
and adapt to be with another person and take care of the other person, and because we are immigrants as well, is you don't have that support, so you have
Mhm.
to carry your daughter everywhere. Everybody knows I go to everywhere with my daughter. Now she's
Right.
in school, but yes,
Mhm.
before it was like all the trainings and workshops and class I do.
Yeah,
I,
you show up as a mother. Yeah.
I show up with her. I know because I wanna. It's because it's different when you are
Hmm.
alone, no, and raise. Well, I have my husband, but when
Hmm.
uh, we have like a different time. No?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I got friends that like we are all immigrants, and some of us, our parents are not here. Like you like the support network that you have is very different, or very like you are basically relying on yourself to take care of your next generation. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And that changed the way you acting as well.
Hmm.
Because I want to be a role model for my daughter, of course. So I always have to be kind of aware now that little things that I say in group or I am in public, how you behave. And it's not something like you do like a very formal. No, it's something
Hmm.
you start to um, introduce in your mind when you are mother, how you has to be aware of all that
Yeah,
things.
something that you learn, like it's
I
the
don't know.
topic of unlearn and unlearn again, right? Like you don't
It's
naturally, nobody naturally knows that stuff. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's not coming with a. I always say that, and it's kind of funny. It's not coming with a manual that you can follow like a camera, like with a manual. You can see
yeah.
what do you do. No, you learn to be a mother. You learn. Oh no, learned. That's okay as well.
Hmm.
It's a hard time. It's a hard time. That's how
Yeah,
I can say. Be a mother is a challenge.
yeah. It's a challenge. It's a transformative experience.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
transformative.
yeah. So Yannis, what are you working on now, and where can people check out your work if they're interested after this episode?
Well, really, I work in a few stuff.
Yes, take your time.
Of course. But yes, the people, the audience can see my work. Mostly, I am very active in Instagram. I
Mhm.
usually use more Instagram, and there you can follow and you can see my journey as an artist as well. I post stuff in my daily routine, my daily things I saw, or things I share passion. So that's mostly my website. And also
Okay.
I have a website as well, blog I call Bitagora a blog,
Mm.
because I do as well community projects, and also I post resource for other artists as well. And I have all my podcasts and activities. Next, in this October 8 and 9, I am participating in Culture Days event. It's a national event here in Canada, and I always participate since 2006. When the first time I arrived to Toronto, I discovered that
Amazing.
and put my program there, and have been very beautiful to be part of this multidisciplinary event. And I will do a physical workshop. It's called, we will do a multilingual telling there. We create together a poem or a story with elements and visuals, a collage, and all that. I love to do fun activity with the public and
Mhm.
more focus and enjoy the moment and enjoy the learning new things, new techniques, and have fun with the
Mhm.
words and with the visual part. So that's my first program. And the other day, the night, is a community project together with a mentor. I really like her. She's called Laila Rai.
Mhm.
And we will do like a brainstorm, a connection. The people can come, and the artists or no artists can come and
Wow.
share the opinion, share resources. We will give you some resources as well. And just for a community moment to have that, I opened that space. I must tell you that these two activities part of my RBC, my Space Award I received in 2022.
Yes.
Thanks God I have the gallery space, a remote gallery.
Mm.
So I have my photography exhibition in July, and then I divide the time in three portions and three times. So one for community project, one for my exhibition, and the other for my podcast recording. So it's,
Oh, that's great use of
yeah,
this, like the space and the resource.
yeah, the space in Canada. It's really hard to get having a space to do your artist practice or
Yes, absolutely.
show your
Hmm.
work. So this grant award, sorry, this award gave me, allowed me to do that
Awesome.
activity.
Yeah. I know that was, I suppose, my wrap up question, but I realized I want to ask another question. To end of this episode, like what advice would you give for other people who are just coming to Canada and immigrating here and starting their or restarting their artistic career?
Oh, that's a big question. highly recommend all the time to do research. Research what you want to do, and research with focus and your passion, no? And don't lose hope, of course, never. It's a hard time and it's a hard city as well to be an artist in this case. And but never lose the dream, never lose the passion, and do that. Networking is help. Like I met you in that workshop,
Mm-hmm.
studying as well. Always find way the learning. It's for me. It's a long list, but that mainly is my recommendation always to newcomers to
Yeah.
do. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So keep up the curiosity is what I heard there, and learning and keeping that optimism. Like I love that as you share with that. You have a big smile. Yeah.
Yes, it's always a challenge. So you have
Mhm.
to keep your joy, and even in the dark days, it's good to see what you learn about that. I don't know. It's my mantra all the time. No, all the experience is bad. The experience teaching something to us. So yes,
Yeah.
don't ever stop learning.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming here today, Yannis, and share your reflections and all your stories with us. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much, Betty, for having me. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you.
If you like what you heard today, please continue to subscribe and follow our podcast on any podcast platform of your choice or follow us on the YouTube channel. Also, please share this podcast with your creative friends. We all know how important it is to get inspiration and find resonance on our creative path. So, this podcast is really to hold space for us to have more of this kind of conversation so that we can support and uplift each other. Also, my one-on-one coaching program is open. I've coached creatives of all kinds to grow their practice and career with intentionality. I have 2 one-on-one programs tailored to support either independent artists and creative or mid-career creators who are looking for a shift. So check out those programs on my website and book a free consultation call. May we all grow our creative practice with intentionality. I see you on the next episode.